Karina, baby, good morning. For the 23rd, we're going to be reading from A Year Full of Stories, Shop, Shop, Shopping. Now, is it fun to shop? Every once in a while, we would go out and we would be on like our normal schedule, which was normal for us. It was anything that Mama could find around the community, right? And so we would be out sometimes and you'd stop me, right? Because I always used to tell you, if Mama's going too fast, don't be afraid to stop me, right? Say, Mama, I need to sit down on the bench. Mama, I need a break. Mama, I want to do something else today, right? I used to always tell you, you could pick out something else. Alright, the only thing I didn't let you miss was some of the play dates, because I really wanted you to go to those morning play dates, because I want you to be socialized with good people that you get to see every week. And then story time, because I wanted someone else to be reading these storybooks. So we would float around from one library to the next to different story times. Miss Lisa was your favorite story time teller, and Miss Michelle wasn't. And, but Miss Michelle was close to our new house where we moved, and, Miss Lisa you were just used to, because you've been seeing her since you were 3 months old in her reading class. And so you liked Miss Lisa's class more, and I don't blame you. And Miss Michelle just did it a little bit differently, and I don't blame you. But I wanted you to go to different reading classes because I wanted you to be exposed to someone else reading you storybooks in different ways and perspectives on how people show things and tell things, right? I want you to have a very good understanding of different types of people. So I would make sure that you went to your storytime readings. And every once in a while, you just didn't want to go. You're like, Mama, I don't want to wear a coat. Mama, I don't want to go out this door. Mama, I don't want to do this, right? Every once in a while, you just didn't want to go to those storytime readings. But that was one of the things that you had to go to. It's good for your brain. It's good for your learning and perceiving. Because if Mama was just reading you books all the time, I'm reading you books every single day. And I know that you're not going to storytime readings at the libraries right now. I do know that you are in school, as you probably call it, daycare. And, so you're probably getting some good storybooks read to you, and people are hopefully being very gentle and very kind with you. Because your heart is something that you need to take good care of, and your brain is something you need to take care of. So I hope that everyone who's around you is being very loving towards you. Because that's what mamas want. Mamas want their babies to be loved and seen and accepted and protected, right? Mama loves you and Mama misses you, baby. And I was that foundation that you had for that. And I'm praying to God that God's protecting you every single second of every single day and that you're okay. But every once in a while, we would be out at another activity. Say we went down to see the Native Americans that day, or we went to go to the splash pad that day, or we went to go somewhere that day. You'd be like, Mama, you'd grab my hand, you'd pull me down next to you, and I'd stop and I'd look at you. And you'd say, Mama, I want to go shopping. And I'd take you down to the thrift shops. And I used to tell you, baby, get whatever you want. You can pick out whatever you want. Because it's a thrift shop, and I wanted you to have the experience of shopping. I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money like at Walmart. At Walmart, you got to play with all the toys, but Mama wouldn't buy those toys for you. Mama would just let you play with those toys. And at the end, I'd hand them into the cashier and tell her that we're not getting this and we're not getting that. Or else I'd go around the store and you tell me to put them back where we found them. Depending on how much it was or how big the item was. I wouldn't hand the cashier anything big. But every once in a while, like the one time you had like a little book in your hand and you refused to put that book back. It was a little tiny baby book like this big. And you refused to put this book back. So I was like, okay, baby, come on, let's go. It's a little tiny book, so I did give it to the cashier. Another time when you were smaller than that, you had a little tiny play phone. We were at one of the drugstores, and you refused to put it back on the shelf. I'm like, okay, come on, it's time to put this back now. And you were not having it. And that's okay. I mean, it's okay to want something and to hold something and to have it in your possession at that moment in time. That's okay. And so I let you keep it. We browsed more through the store, and we looked around at a couple more things, so this way you got more time to play with this particular toy. And because it was a little phone light-up toy that you were playing with at, I think it was a CVS or Rite Aid. And at the end of it, I gave it to the nice woman who checked us out for the rest of, like, the little things that we got. And I told her that, I'm sorry, but we're not getting this toy. And you forgot all about it by the time we even got to the car. It was perfect, because you got time to play with it and experience it and learn from it, and Mama just wants you to have good experiences. I want you to take time out of the day and go, I love myself, right? Go, I love me. You have a heart that's beating, right? You have oxygen that you're breathing. Your body is doing so many things that are internal functions that you don't have to monitor at all. Your body loves you. You have temples for a reason. Your body is your temple, and I want you to treat your body well. I've always wanted you to treat your body well. And I don't want you to be self-destructive. I just want you to be, today, I love me today. Okay, Karina? Just check in with yourself today. See how you're doing that day. It's okay if you're sad. It's okay if you're happy. It's okay if you don't know how you're feeling. That's okay. But I want you to love yourself no matter what. Your body is your home. It's where you eat and where you sleep. And it's the only thing that you have that goes through your entire life with you. And I don't care what it physically looks like on the outside. I care about what your heart looks like on the inside. Right? Health-wise, your heart is very important. Health-wise, your teeth are very important. Your teeth create so much of the health of your body. Right? From the bacteria in your teeth. If you have plaque on your teeth and you don't go to the dentist, it's going to hurt your heart. It's going to hurt your blood vessels. It's going to hurt your body, right? I need you to treat your teeth very well. Your eyesight, Mama had you checking up on your eyesight from very young because Mama can't see particularly well. Mama has very nice teeth. Papa has very nice teeth. Papa has very good eyesight. And it was one of the reasons why I chose Papa to be your Papa, because he has perfect vision. Your Papa has perfect vision. And Mama's eyesight probably would have been a little bit better if I didn't. Mama had seizures when she was little. So if I didn't have seizures when I was little, Mama's eyesight might be a little bit better. I don't know. I don't know if I'm genetically bad eyesight or if I just experience-wise bad eyesight. I'm not sure. So I wanted your Papa to be very good vision. And your Papa has a great jawline. You have a great jawline. Mama has a good jawline. And, you know, very good eyesight. I wanted your Papa to have very good eyesight, and he does. You know, if your Papa has some, you know, hearing issues, but that's okay. Mama has had very good hearing at the time. So I was like, well, it's kind of perfect, right? All right, so our story for today is shop, shop, shopping. And when Mama goes shopping, there's just no stopping. With the stop, shop, shopping, with the non-stop shopping, we buy hats, mats, this and that, a watering can, gloves for grain, shorts, shirts, pants and vest, party shoes to keep for best, material for Mama's new dress, finger paints to make a mess, a puzzle too for me to do, a potting plant that's for Auntie, some bread and cakes, for goodness sakes. Please, no more shopping. We're dropping all the shop, shopping. Oh, their Mama loves to shop. Mama likes to shop online because it's hard for me to find whatever it is I'm looking for in the stores. I got you this beautiful toy the one day, and it was from online because I couldn't find something like it in the store. I used to have one, and my mama gave it away to the neighbor. But I got it from a teacher. It was on one side it had the map, and on the other side it had the world. So Mama got you this beautiful toy that has the dinosaurs, and the map of the United States, and the different things that they sell, and, you know, the world, and different it was different planets, and different things like that. Mama wanted you to have an interactive toy, so I got you a few of them, because I found a few of them from the thrift shops as well, but I was never able to find a replica of the one that I originally had, because I don't know where the teacher got it from. It's probably from some teacher convention that she was at or something like that. But I got it from her from a market when I was with my aunt years before I had you. And my mother gave it away a couple of years when I was actually pregnant with you. So, you know, it's just what it is. All right, today's story is Little One Eye, Little Two Eyes, and Little Three Eyes. What do you think the story is about? Let's find out. There was once upon a time a one-eyed woman who had 3 daughters. The eldest was called Little One Eye because she only has one eye in the middle of her forehead. Do you know what that's called? It's called a cyclops. The second was called Little Two Eyes because she had 2 eyes like other people. And the youngest was called Little Three Eyes because she had 3 eyes, and her 3 eyes was also in the middle of her forehead. So could you imagine having 3 eyes? 1, 2, 3. I don't know what that's called, but we could look it up together. But because little Two Eyes did not look any different from the other children, her sisters and mothers would say to her, "You, with your 2 eyes, are no better than common folk. You don't belong to our family." Oh my. Does she belong with her 3, 2, and 1 eyes? I think they all belong, huh? Because the mama had all of them. I think the mama loves them all very much. She just wants her to think she's like the other children too, right? So they put her here, threw her wretched clothes there, and gave her to eat only little that they had left. They were about as unkind to her as ever they could be. Oh my. It happened one day that little Two Eyes had to go out into the fields to take care of her goat. She was still hungry because her sisters had given her so little to eat, and she sat down in the meadow and she began to cry. She cried so much that 2 little brooks were running out of her eyes. Then she looked up. There stood a woman beside her, who smiled and asked, "Little Two Eyes, why are you crying?" Little Two Eyes answered, "Have I not reason to cry? Because I have 2 eyes like other people. My sisters and my mother cannot bear me. They push me from one corner to another and give me nothing to eat except what they have to leave. Today they gave me so little that I am still very hungry." And then the wise woman said, "Little Two Eyes, dry your eyes. I will tell you something so you need never be hungry again. Only say to your goat, 'Little goat, bleed. Little goat, little table appear.' And a beautiful spread table will stand before you with the most delicious food on it, and you can eat as much as you want. When you have enough to eat, you have only to say, 'Little goat, bleed. Little goat, little table away,' and it will vanish." After telling the little girl this, the wise woman went away. Little Two Eyes thought, "I must try at once to see if what she has told me is true, for I am hungrier than ever," she said. "Little goat, bleed. Little goat, little table appear." And scantly had she uttered the words, when a little table stood before her, covered with white cloth, in which were arranged a plate, a silver fork, a silver knife, fork, and spoon, and the most beautiful dishes, which were smoking hot as if they had just come out of the kitchen. Then Little Two Eyes said a short prayer of thanks and ate a good dinner. When she had eaten enough, she said, as the wise woman had told her, "Little goat, bleed. Little table away." And immediately the table and all that was on it disappeared. "That is a splendid way to keep house," said Little Two Eyes, and she was quite happy. In the evening, when she went home with her goat, she found a small earthenware dish with the food her sisters had left for her, but she did not touch it. The next day she went out again with her goat and left the few scraps given her. At first her sisters did not notice this, but finally they said, "Something is the matter with Little Two Eyes. She always leaves her food now, and she used to gobble it up, all she was given. She must be getting food elsewhere." The little One Eye was told to go along with Little Two Eyes when she drove the goats to pasture, to see whether anyone brought her food and drink. Now when Little Two Eyes was sitting out, Little One Eye came up to her and said, "I will go into the field with you and see if you take care of the goat, and if you drive him properly to get grass. But little Two Eyes knew what little One Eye had in her mind. So she drove the goat into the long grass and said, "Come, little One Eye, we will sit down here and I will sing you something." Little One Eye sat down. She was tired by the long walk, to which she was not accustomed, and by the hot day. And when little Two Eyes began to sing, "Little One Eye, are you awake? Little One Eye, are you asleep?" She shut her one eye and fell asleep. When little Two Eye saw little One Eye was asleep, she said, "Little goat, bleed, little table, appear," and sat down to her table and ate and drank as much as she wanted. Then she said again, "Little goat, bleed, little table, away." And in a twinkling of an eye, everything had vanished. Little Two Eyes then woke little One Eye and said, "Little One Eye, you meant to watch and instead you went to sleep. In the meantime, the goat might have run far and wide. Come, we will go home." So they went home. Little Two Eyes again left her dinner untouched. Little One Eye could not tell her mother why, and said as an excuse, "The fresh air made me so tired I fell asleep." The next day the mother said to little Three Eyes, "This time you shall go with little Two Eyes and watch what she does out in the field and whether anyone brings her food or drink." Little Three Eyes went to little Two Eyes and said, "I will go with you and see if you take good care of the goat and if you drive him properly to the grass." But little Two Eyes knew what little Three Eyes had in mind. She drove the goat into the tall grass and said to little Three Eyes, "Sit down here. I will sing something for you." Little Three Eyes sat down. She was tired by the walk and the hot day. Little Two Eyes sang the same song again, but instead of singing it as she should have, "Little Three Eyes, are you asleep?" she sang without thinking. Little Two Eyes, are you asleep?" And she went on singing it. The two eyes of little Three Eyes fell asleep, but the third, which was not spoken to in the little rhyme, did not fall asleep. Of course, little Three Eyes shut that eye also, to make it seem as if she really was asleep, but her third eye kept blinking and could see everything quite well. When little Two Eyes thought little Three Eyes was sound asleep, she said her rhyme, "Little goat, bleed, little table, appear," and ate and drank to her heart's content. Then she made the table go away again by singing, "Little goat, bleed, little table, away." But little Three Eyes had seen everything. Then little Two Eyes came to her, woke her up, and said, "Well, little Three Eyes, have you been asleep? You watch well. Come, we will go home." When they reached home, little Two Eyes did not eat again, and little Three Eyes said to her mother, "I know why. That proud thing eats nothing." When she says to the little goat in the field, "Little goat, bleed, little table, appear," the table stands before her spread with food much better than what we have. When she has had enough, she says, "Little goat, bleed, little table, away," and everything disappears. I saw it all. She made 2 of my eyes go to sleep with a little rhyme, but the one in my forehead remained awake luckily. Then the envious mother cried out to little Two Eyes, "Will you fare better than we do? You shall not have the chance to do so again." She fetched a knife and killed the goat. When little Two Eyes saw what her mother had done, she went out full of grief and sat down in the meadow weeping bitter tears. Again the wise woman stood before her and said, "Little Two Eyes, why are you crying?" "Have I not reason to cry?" she answered. "My mother has killed the goat which spread the table so beautifully before me when I said the rhyme. Now I must suffer from hunger again." The wise woman said, "Little Two Eyes, I will give you a good piece of advice. Ask your sisters to give you the heart of the dead goat. Bury it in the earth before the house door. That will bring you good luck." Then she disappeared. Little Two Eyes went back home and said to her sisters, "Dear sisters, do give me something of my goat. I ask nothing more than its heart." They laughed and said, "You may have that if you want nothing more." The little Two Eyes took the heart, and in the evening, when all was quiet, buried it before the house door, as the wise woman had told her. The next morning, when they all awoke, there stood a most wonderful tree, which had leaves of silver and fruit of gold growing on it, more lovely and gorgeous than anything they had ever seen in their lives. But only Little Two Eyes knew that the marvelous gold and silver tree had sprung from the heart of the goat, for it was standing just where she had buried it in the ground. Then the mother said to Little One Eye, "Climb up, my child, and break us some fruit from the tree." Little One Eye climbed up, but just when she was going to take hold of the golden apples, the bough sprung out of her hands. And this happened every time, so she could not break off a single apple, however hard she tried. Then the mother said, "Little Three Eyes, do you climb up? When your 3 eyes, you can see much better than Little One Eye." So Little One Eye slid down and Little Three Eyes climbed up. She was no more successful than her sister. Try as she might, the branches of golden apples sprung out of her hands, and at last the mother grew impatient and climbed up herself, but she was even less successful than the little One Eye and Little Three Eye in catching hold of the fruit, and only grasped at the empty air. Then Little Two Eyes said, "I will try just once. Perhaps I will do better." The sisters called out, "You, with your 2 eyes, will no doubt succeed." Little Two Eyes climbed up, and the golden apples did not jump away from her. They behaved properly, so that she could pluck them off, one after the other, and brought a whole apron down with her. The mother took them from her, but instead of treating poor Little Two Eyes better, as they should have, they were jealous. What do we say all the time about a jealous heart? A jealous heart will kill people. You don't need jealousy in your life. You don't need to be jealous over anyone or anyone else's situation or anything else in your life. You don't need to be, because it's not a good thing anyway. People's situations will change, no matter what it is, baby. I don't care what it is. My father was so sick when he was little, and I wasn't jealous over other people getting to keep their fathers, because I knew I was losing mine. And I have a soft spot in my heart for fathers. That's why I protected your father so heavily. You need a father. You need a mother. You need both. You need both in your life, no matter what. I will always love you. I will always love you. But you need both. And I knew I was losing, and I wasn't jealous over anyone else getting to keep their father. Right now, I don't have you, and I'm not jealous over anyone else having their children right now. I don't have you right now. I don't have you right by my side. I'm not sitting with you in my arms reading you this book as I should be. Okay? I don't have you right now, but you can't have a jealous heart. Everyone's situation will change, and your own situation will change for the better. It might change for the worse for a little bit, but it will always get better. There's always tomorrow, honey. There's always right now. Be kind to your heart, your body, your mind, and your soul. Be kind to yourself. Okay? No matter what. Be kind to yourself. I love you. Alright? So, jealousy is the worst thing in the entire world. It will destroy people because you will have so much resentment if you get jealous and spiteful. My father used to always say, you stay sweet. You don't get bitter over your situation. He was dying. He was sick. He would throw up his medications. And they were $1,000 a pill. I was giving them to him from a briefcase that we had. And he'd get sick and he'd throw them up. and he'd have to retake them. And he wasn't bitter over that. He used to say, money's just money. More tomorrow. It's okay. And, like, if someone else owed him money, he used to tell us all the time. There was this guy down the street that we used to call Steak Man. He used to own boa constrictors. He used to own all kinds of snakes. His house was scary to me because I'm afraid of snakes. So I'd walk into his house. He had all these aquariums along every single wall in his house. He had all of these snakes. They were beautiful snakes, but I'd keep my distance a little bit. And so Snake Man down the street owed your grandpapa some money. And my grandpapa, or my father, used to always say, you know, just live longer. You really want to get back at someone, just live longer. He used to tell your father all the time, he'd say certain things. I'm like, just live longer. You know, tomorrow's going to be better. You can't take little situations in your life and get so worked up over them. Just give it 5 minutes. Like, if you don't get the parking spot you want, or, you know, you lose your phone for 5 minutes, or you lose your keys or something, take the time, relax, breathe, retrace your steps. You will find it. If you can't find something, start cleaning. You'll find it. All right? Start cleaning every room in your house, every area in your house. You'll find it. I promise you. And then your house will be a lot cleaner too. Alright, baby. Let's get back to the story. But we don't want jealous hearts because that doesn't make us beautiful. Keeping a nice contentment with life and a good heart, good mind, good body, good soul, good spirit. The beauty comes from the inside. I don't care what people's physical looks like. You treat everyone the same no matter what. We're all made up of the same stuff. But beauty comes from the heart. So we want to keep a beautiful heart that's free from jealousy. Okay? They were jealous that only she could reach the fruit, and were still more unkind to poor little Two Eyes. One day when the three were standing together by the tree, a young knight came riding along. "Be quick, little Two Eyes," cried the sisters. "Creep under this, so you shall not disgrace us." They put poor little Two Eyes beneath an empty cask, and pushed under with her the golden apples which she had plucked. When the knight, who was very handsome young man, rode up, he was amazed to see the marvelous tree of gold and silver, and said to the two sisters, "Whose is this beautiful tree? Whoever will give me a twig of it shall have whatever she wants." Then little One Eye and Three Eyes answered that the tree belonged to them, and they would certainly break off a twig for them. They went through a great deal of trouble, but in vain. The twigs and fruit bent away from their hands every time. Then the knight said, "It is very strange that the tree should belong to you, and yet you cannot break anything from it." But they insisted the tree was theirs. While they were saying this, little Two Eyes rolled a couple of golden apples from under the cask. So they lay at the knight's feet. She was angry with little One Eye and Three Eyes. Oh my goodness. So we went from jealousy to anger. Alright? It's okay to get angry every once in a while and to feel hurt. Why do you get angry? You get angry because you feel like someone disrespected you. You feel like someone betrayed you. You feel like, why do you get angry? You feel hurt. Why do you get angry though? Why do you feel hurt? Why are you angry? If you put expectations on somebody else where they don't know your personal expectation, you will always be upset in life. Don't expect things from other people. Don't expect someone to be kind to you. Don't expect someone to treat you well. Don't take someone being rude to you either. Say, "Excuse me, I really don't like that behavior." And that's okay. That's a good thing to do because you need respect. All right? You need to be respected and you need to respect other people. If you show respect, usually you get respect. So, but why do people get angry? What is this feeling about? Either people have a lot of resentment towards you, towards things that they blame on you that may not even be your fault, right? That harbors a lot of anger. Or people expected something from you that you didn't understand that they expected because you're not inside their head and they didn't explain of what they expected from you. So then they get angry, right? Don't expect things from other people. You will always have a bitter heart and anger within you if you expect anything from anybody else. You understand, Karina? You can't expect someone to give you something on your birthday. Even that. It is your, like when it is your birthday, or say it's the 10th of the month and you're celebrating your birthday that month, don't expect somebody to give something to you. Don't expect somebody to treat you a certain way or behave a certain way, because it's not going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen. I don't want you to be constantly disappointed or constantly resentful towards somebody else or constantly just angry, harboring that anger inside you, right? Don't expect things, because it does nothing but hurt you. And you don't want to feel hurt. You want to feel loving and kind and caring towards yourself and others. And it's hard sometimes not to expect things from other people, right? Like sometimes you're just, I just expected this. Like, but life doesn't turn out the way that you expect, and people don't do what you think that they might do because they're not you and they don't have the same background as you. Everyone comes from a different background. That makes us unique and special and just beautiful hearts and minds and bodies and souls that do things differently. And even if someone does something different than you, doesn't mean that they're wrong. It means that they couldn't see another way of doing it. Everyone raises their children different, right? Like, that's a good example, right? And when someone tells you, because usually mothers-in-laws do this, they're like, well, I raised my baby like this, and they turned out fine. And what do you say to them? Like, if someone ever says something like that to you when you're older and you have your own child, you say, that's because you loved your baby, right? I'm doing this because I love mine. Like, not everyone agreed that I was teaching you how to read when you were little, or not everyone agreed that we were doing elimination communication. Not everyone agreed that I was doing signing with you and doing fractions. Not everyone agreed to all the educational stuff I wanted to do with you, and to make sure that you were well fed and well taken care of no matter where we were. Not everyone agreed with things that I did, but I couldn't see another way of doing it for any of my children, for you or any child I may have in the future, all right? So, and when other people told me, well, I fed my baby water and my baby was fine on a hot summer day when you're 3 months old, I said, that's fine that you did that with your baby, even though that could cause, honestly, brain damage. And I was like, yeah, that's fine that you did that with your baby. That's because you loved your baby. That's why you thought that was best, as I gave you milk, because that's what you needed at that point in time, because that's just a scientifically proven fact. But, you know, but I wouldn't expect anybody. I didn't really hand you around because I was terrified that someone might actually give you water, because it was so dead on of that's what they expected me to do with you. And I was like, it's a hot day, we are on the beach, I'm not giving my baby water, because that to me is just, you don't do that. You had milk, you had more than enough milk than you could ever want. So, like, you know, so, but certain people expect certain behaviors, and I'm sure that person was pretty upset with me for being like, absolutely not. But she can't expect me to do something with my baby that she did with her baby, because her baby was fine. But I told her, I'm sure that you loved your baby no matter what, and that you couldn't find another way to do it. So that's fine. Alright? You can't expect anything from anybody. Alright. Let's get back to this anger part of this, because, see, this is a good book because it's going through different emotions, and we need to go through the different emotions to know what they are and where they come from and where they stem from, so that this way we can do better. If you know better, you can do better. But the knights demanded to see her. Oh, wait. So they lay at the knight's feet. She was angry with little One Eye and with little Three Eyes for not speaking the truth. Oh my. So little Two Eyes expected little One Eye and little Three Eyes to speak the truth when these two little girls aren't very nice to her. Right? Why would she expect them to speak the truth? She shouldn't. When the knight saw the apples, he was astonished, and asked where they had come from. Little One Eye and little Three Eyes answered that they had another sister, but she had been hidden away, and could not be seen, because she had only 2 eyes like ordinary people. But the knight demanded to see her, and called out to little Two Eyes, come forth. Little Two Eyes came out quite happily from beneath the cask. The knight was astonished at her great beauty, and said, Little Two Eyes, I am sure you can break off a twig for me from the tree. Yes, answered Little Two Eyes, I can, for the tree is mine. So she climbed up and broke off a small twig, with its silver leaves and golden fruit, without any trouble. At all. And leaning forward, she gave it to the knight. Then she said, Little Two Eyes, what shall I give you for this? "Ah," answered Little Two Eyes, "I suffer hunger and thirst, neglect and sorrow, from early morning till late in the evening. If you would take me with you, free me from this, I shall be happy." Then the knight lifted Little Two Eyes onto his horse and took her home to his father's castle. There he gave her beautiful clothes and food and drink, and because he loved her so much he married her. When the handsome knight carried Little Two Eyes away with him, the two sisters at first envied her good luck. "But the wonderful tree is still with us after all," they said. "Although we cannot break any fruit from it, everyone will stop and look at it and will come to us and praise it. Who knows whether we may not reap a harvest from it?" But the next morning the tree had vanished, and their hopes were gone. When Little Two Eyes looked out of her window, there the tree stood. To her great delight, once two poor women came to the castle to beg alms. Little Two Eyes looked at them and recognized both her sisters, who had become so poor they had to beg bread at her door. But Little Two Eyes bade them welcome, and was so good to them that they repented for being so unkind to her sisters. So Little Two Eyes did what? She welcomed her sisters no matter what, and she fed them, and she gave them drink and comfort and asylum, right? She gave them rest. Look at how beautiful this photo is, right? So she didn't keep a bitter heart. She didn't expect anything really from her. She got angry, right? And then the sisters got envious. So what is envy? So say someone gets something that you want and you don't get that thing, right? Say it's someone else's birthday and they got a beautiful party, a cake made of gold, and they got all these diamonds and gems, and they got a dinosaur hunt, and they got all these things, right? And then you're like, oh my gosh, this person got this for their party, so I'm going to get this too. And all of a sudden it's your party, and you get some cupcakes, and you get a few friends over, and you get to do a sleepover, and you get what you get, right? And then all of a sudden you become envious of what someone else might have or might get. The thing is, you can't be envious over what people have or get, because you get what you get and they get what they get, and that has to be okay, because life, it isn't fair. But if you take everything that you get with good stride, you will get the world as well. Like that song. Alright, since we're done with the book, let's do the song by Georgie. It's little pebble upon this land, now you're sitting here in my hand. Me to you is just a passing phase. Little human upon the sand, now I'm laying here in your hand. You to me is just a passing phase. Happiness runs in a circular motion. Life is like a little boat upon the sea. Everybody is a part of everything anyway. You can have everything if you let yourself be. Happiness runs, happiness runs, happiness runs, happiness runs. Why, oh, because happiness runs in a circular motion. Life is like a little boat upon the sea. Everybody is a part of everything anyway. You can have everything if you let yourself be. So if you let yourself be content with what you have and not be envious of what anybody else has, I don't care what they have, okay? You could be living out of your car one day, living at the beach. You could be living out of your car one day, living in the mountains, right? You could be traveling between the beach and the mountains. Whenever you get sad, you're going to the beach, or get happy and you're going to the mountains just to do like a small hike, but then you get scared to go back to the beach and want to be at the water again. Like, whatever. I don't care what you're doing. You don't become envious of someone else living in a house, right? Because then you have to weigh the pros and cons of everything. One, it's not your house if you're living in a house, right? The car might be yours. No big deal. But you can't be envious of anyone else's situation. That's all I'm trying to, get across. You can't be envious. You can't be jealous. You can't be bitter towards anyone else's situation. You have to take everything in stride. Because your life, at certain points in time in your life, just might not be fair. Because life isn't fair. My father used to drill that into our heads when we were little. Life isn't fair and it's not going to be fair. And that's okay. It's something that you roll with, right? Like one day you might be crying all day and that's okay. It's okay to cry. Because your situation just isn't what you want it to be. But the next day you just keep going and you try to get back to the situation that you want, and you try as hard as you possibly can, and you do everything you could possibly do in order to get what it is that you want back, or just what it is that you want. Like right now, Mama wants you back in my life. I read you books every day, I write to you every day, I buy things for you constantly when I'm out because I miss you and I want you to come by and have everything that your heart could desire with gifts, because I don't know if gifts is your love language, or I don't know if all of them are your love languages, but I don't know which one's your top yet. Because when you were little, I was constantly with you. So, it might be quality time, and it might be, I constantly held you. It might be physical touch. It might be, I don't know what your top love language is, but it might be gifts. It might be acts of service, and it might be words of affection and admiration. I'm not sure what your particular love language is for the top one, but I do know that you have all of them. So I'm trying to, I don't know, just have you have everything that you could possibly want when you get here. Oh, Karina, I just love you and I just miss you so incredibly much. So incredibly much. Mama's right now going through some paperwork. I'm trying to pull things out from the side panels and out from underneath my bed. I need to give Papa a copy of anything I hand into this nice lady that we're going to be going to see on the 2nd of October. If she ever gets back to me, I don't know what time to be there, so I'm thinking about just showing up early and just being there all day for whatever time she wants me to show up, because I don't know. She really hasn't gotten back to me yet. I don't know, baby. I just want to eventually get to see you, because I miss you. And you need both parents in your life no matter what. You need a mother and you need a father. And you get one of each, So I need you. I just need you in my life. And I just need you to be okay for right now. Constantly pray for you. I miss you. Alright, let's do Lila Tove. Lila Tove, and good night to you. Lila Tove, may your dreams come true. We sing Lila Tove, may Israel protect you throughout the night until we reach the morning lights. I sing that song to you every day because it's just an important song within our culture. Every single night, sometimes there are dark patches in our lives, and then sometimes there are light patches in our lives, but we have to make it through the night, every single night, no matter what the stormy weather is, right? Karina, baby, I love you, and I miss you, and I want you to say to yourself, Karina, I love you. Just say, Karina, I love you to yourself. Like I would say, Mama, I love me. Like, Mama, I love you, okay? I miss you so much. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how much I miss you. Losing your baby or being away from your baby is the worst torture in the entire world. It really is. So we pray, we get through it, and we just make it to tomorrow, right? I miss you, baby. Like Papa always used to say, Mama's his sun, Papa's my moon, and you are our rainbow, baby, and we love you. We will always love you, no matter what. I will always love you, honey.